So we'd like to welcome His Grace Radhakrishna Prabhu and his father here, Rajesh Rajasuya Das from Vrindavan, India. And at a very young age, Radhakrishna Prabhu has established himself as a great lecturer on all of the Vaishnava topics that we have in the books, Nectar of Devotion, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and he is touring of America right now. And there is some connection with Ludhiana, I believe.
He is the temple president of Ludhiana.
Okay, temple president of Ludhiana Temple is gone. So we're very fortunate, and we look forward to hearing a nice presentation. And please have your questions ready for discussions also. And this is a great opportunity for us. So without wasting more time, I'd like to give the mic over to Radhakrishna. Hare Krishna.
Please welcome all thousands. Come on.
So, please turn to page number 90 in the Vaishnava songs book. We will sing that song, and please repeat after the original recitation takes place.
No, I don't know.
अष्टोत्तरशत श्री श्रीमद् His Divine Grace Abhaya Charana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Acharya Varya Ashtottarashata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ग्रंथराज श्री श्री भक्ति रसामृत सिंधु की श्री श्री भक्ति रसामृत सिंधु क्लास की श्रील रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की युग धर्म श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की समवेत भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलम् श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. At the very onset of present day's discourse, initially I would like to offer my most respectfully prostrated obeisances unto the lotus feet of their divine lordships, Shri Shri Radha and Shyama Sundar Dev, along with their eternal transcendental associates such as Shri Lalita Devi, Shri Vishakha Devi, Shri Lokarati Manjari, etc. And along with them, I would also like to submit my most respectfully prostrated homages unto the lotus feet of their divine lordships, Shri Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Shri Shri Nityananda Prabhu, along with their perpetual divine entourage like Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatana Goswami, and all the six Goswamis of Shri Dham Vrindavan. Finally, I would also like to pay my obeisances and due respects unto the lotus feet of His Divine Grace, Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who, being an adept, has very artistically propagated and has dispersed the doctrine of Krishna consciousness imbued with pure devotional transcendental mellows and sentiments throughout this world in this present modern era in a most unique and fantastic, unprecedented way. Conclusively, I would also like to pay my obeisances and due respects unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord present herein, and especially unto the feet of His Grace Paradhyaya Prabhu, who is a very senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And thereafter, I would now like to commence the context of our present day's discussion, especially the context and topic of Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, alias the Nectar of Devotion, compiled by Shri Rupa Goswami the foremost associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So as we have been discussing on this unprecedented treatise known as the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, since past 95 days or so, while we have been traversing in many different places and in many different parts of this country, especially in most of these centers, we have continued our ongoing discussion on the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in many ways. So, today also we will continue our discussion on the Nectar of Devotion. Srila Rupa Goswami, who is the author of this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first we have to become acquainted with the glories of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, and only then we can actually appreciate the treatise compiled by him. So Srila Rupa Goswami, his glories are in factual terms quite inconceivable, because it has been said that Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the fountain head and source of all the different types of incarnations and expansions, like Shri Varahadev, Shri Matsyadev, Shri Kurmadev, Shri Narsimhadev, etc., all these different incarnations and expansions of Shri Krishna, who are generally known as Vishnu Tattva expansions or the Swansharupas. These different forms of Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are not capable of distributing that most unique and unprecedented gift, or that most exalted form of benediction or boon that Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Shri Krishna, has come here to give on this mundane platform. It has been described by Srila Rupa Goswami in his treatise known as Sri Lagu Bhagavatamritam, which forms the appendix portion of Sri Brihad Bhagavatamritam compiled by his elder brother Sri Sanatana Goswami. So in the Lagu Bhagavatamritam, Srila Rupa Goswami excavates and he reveals a very unique, unprecedented Siddhanta or a Shastrika scriptural conclusion which had never been explained or illuminated upon before Srila Rupa Goswami. So Srila Rupa Goswami propounds in Lagu Bhagavatamritam that Santva Bhava Avataraha Pushkaranabhasya Sarvato Bhatraha Krishnadapi Kopi Latasati Premado Bhavati. Santva Bhava Avataraha. Let there be many incarnations and expansions, and let those incarnations and expansions emanate from Shri Krishna every second. I have no problem, I have no impediment with that process. Santu Bhava Avataraha. Why I have no problem as Shri Krishna incarnating in many different forms and expansions? Because all those expansions and incarnations are Bhadra, are full of auspiciousness and are bestowing great kalyana or great fortune upon all the living entities who are getting in connection with those incarnations. It has been described in Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that all the demons who have been killed by the transcendental lotus hands of Lord Narayana or any of his incarnations immediately are eligible to receive liberation from this mundane world. So all the different forms and incarnations of Shri Krishna are quite auspicious and are bestowing the most exalted form of fortune on all the living entities who come in connection with those incarnations, either disposed with a favorable attitude or disposed or endowed with an unfavorable attitude. So those demons who are disposed with an unfavorable attitude and those devotees who are disposed and endowed with favorable attitude, all of them who come into contact with incarnations of Shri Krishna and Narayan get liberation from this mundane world. That is why, for that reason, I have no problem with all the different forms of Shri Krishna. But still, there remains one deficiency. There lacks the most exalted feature which is present in Shri Krishna. That feature is lacking in these other forms and incarnations of Shri Krishna. And what is that feature? That feature, that supramundane and unexcelled feature that Shri Krishna possesses, that quality, that attribute that Shri Krishna possesses is not possessed by any other incarnation or expansion of Shri Krishna, not even by Shri Ram, Narsimha, Matsya, Varaha, Kurma, etc. And what is that feature? That feature is that Krishna adapi koapi latasvati premato bhavati. Except for Shri Krishna. Besides Shri Krishna, the original primeval Godhead, what other form of his can bestow this Krishna prema, this transcendental unalloyed love for the lotus feet of his own self unto the conditioned living beings. This Krishna prema, this Krishna priti, this Bhagavat prema, this prema bhakti, which is the highest goal of human life, and which in the language of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been called as the Panchama Purushartha, or the fifth goal of human life, discarding the preceding four so-called goals of human life, such as dharma, artha, kama and moksha, or the so-called religious activities and rites and rituals, economic development, sense gratification, and the 5 types of liberations or emancipation from the clutches of illusion of chance. So, all these dharma, artha, kama and moksha, all these so-called purusharthas, which are known as the cheating forms of religion or the cheating propensities, and Srimad Bhagavatam has very clearly elucidated this in the terms dharma projita karitavutra paramo nirvatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatramastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavatam pramanam amalam prema Srimad Bhagavatam mahamani krite kimma parai vishwarah sadyo hridi avarudhyati yatra krite shushrushu bhistakshanat. So Srila Vyasadeva, Krishna Dvaipaya Vyasadeva says in the very beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, he makes a very strong promise, and he makes the Swarupa, the identity of Srimad Bhagavatam, very crystal clear in front of the readers of that book. He says that in this Srimad Bhagavatam, like most of the other literatures and scriptures that have been compiled by me, in this Srimad Bhagavatam, that fault has not been repeated. That mistake, that discrepancy, that flaw has not been repeated, has not been included in this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is rather seen present in the other forms of literature, Vedic literatures compiled by me, like the Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Mahabharata, 17 Puranas, etc. And what is that great mistake that Sri Vyasadeva has not repeated in Srimad Bhagavatam? So Vyasadeva says, Dharma projita kaitavaha. I have completely discarded, I have completely rejected the cheating form of religion. And Srila Sridhar Swami Pad, while commenting on this verse, is the first commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam, authenticated even by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Sridhar Swami Pad, in his commentary known as Bhavartha Deepika, on this second shlok of Srimad Bhagavatam, while defining the word projita, says that projita means discarding, and the prefix pra, which is annexed with the word uchita, the prefix pra means completely. Discarding is the meaning of discarding is implied by the use of the very word uchita, and the meaning complete is implied by the very use of the prefix pra. So when pra and uchita both are combined together, the meaning is taken out to be completely discarding or completely rejecting. So completely rejecting the cheating propensity. And what is that cheating propensity? If suppose Vyasadeva had not put the word, had not put the prefix pra there, then it would mean completely rejecting. No, then it would mean only rejecting. So only rejecting means rejecting only dharma, artha and kama, or the so-called religious rites and rituals as laid down by the Vedas in the form of yajna, dana, vrata, tapasya, penances, austerity, vows, etc. Karmakanda portion of the Vedas. So dharma, artha and kama, the sense gratification, the economic development, and the so-called holy rites and sacred rituals. If it would have been said that Srimad Bhagavatam rejects only the cheating religion, the cheating form of religion, it would have been meant that Srimad Bhagavatam only rejects the dharma, artha and kama. But the prefix pra has been annexed, which gives the meaning completely rejecting, completely relinquishing, abandoning in totality. That means that even discarding the fourth goal, the goal of moksha, the goal of liberation or emancipation from this world. And the liberation are of 5 types. There are 5 types of liberation, 5 types of muktis: Samukya, Sarshti, Samitya, Sayujya, and Salokya. So these are the 5 types of liberations. But Srimad Bhagavatam even rejects the idea of these 5 types of liberations. And that is why Srimad Bhagavatam has been considered to be the most topmost literature among the whole Vedic literature corpus. Among the whole Vedic literatural corpus, Srimad Bhagavatam has been considered to be occupying the most par exalted and super excellent position. It has been said in Garud Puran that Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Vinirnayah Gayatri Bhashyaruposo Vedartha Brahmhitah Purananam Samarubha Sakshat Bhagavatoditah Dvadasha Skandhyuktoyam Srimad Bhagavatavirah. That this Srimad Bhagavatam is Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam. It is the commentary, it is the natural commentation on the meanings of Brahma Sutra or the Vedanta Darshan compiled by Vyasadeva. So it is the natural commentary compiled by the same author. Shri Vyasadeva is the compiler of both the Brahma Sutras and the compiler of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he himself asserts and affirms and substantiates this point while proclaiming very boldly in the Garud Puran that the Brahma Sutras which have been written by me, the Srimad Bhagavatam which has also been compiled by me, is the actual commentation on those Brahma Sutras. This point, this theme has been stressed upon, has been highlighted by Sri Vyasadeva in Garud Puran. Then he says that Gayatri Bhashyarupos Bharatartha Vinirnayah, that this Srimad Bhagavatam is not only natural commentation on the Brahma Sutra or the Vedanta Darshan, but it is also the exposition of the deeper meanings and the profound meanings of Mahabharata. So Mahabharata includes Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranam, Narayaniya, and all these other likewise transcendental topics which have been mentioned in Mahabharata. So Srimad Bhagavatam, being the exposition, being the explanation on Mahabharata, it reveals the actual import of Mahabharata. Bharatartha Vinirnayah, Gayatri Bhashyaruposo, and the mother of the 4 Vedas, the Brahma Gayatri Mantra, from whom all the 4 Vedas and Upanishads have emanated, have expounded, have become manifest. That mother of 4 Vedas is generally known as the Brahma Gayatri Mantra, and Srimad Bhagavatam is also the commentation on this Brahma Gayatri Mantra. It explains the actual purport of Brahma Gayatri Mantra. Gayatri Bhashyarupo Asau Vedartha Paribramhitah. And Vedartha Paribramhitah means that Srimad Bhagavatam is not only the commentation on Brahma Sutra, on the Brahma Gayatri Mantra, on the Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita which is included within Mahabharata, but it is also the fulfiller of the meanings, of the incomplete meanings and of the incomplete part and portions of the 4 Vedas. The 4 Vedas, the most original form of Vedic literature, the 4 Vedas characterized by Sam, Yajur, Atharva and Rig. These 4 Vedas, the incomplete portion of these 4 Vedas have been made complete by Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam's actual par excellent position. That is why in Srimad Bhagavatam Shri Krishna himself has affirmed that Sarva Vedi Hasanam Saram Saram Samutritam. That this Srimad Bhagavatam, Shri Krishna in the form of Shri Vyasadeva has affirmed that Sarva Vedi Hasanam Saram Saram Samutritam means that this Srimad Bhagavatam is actually the essence of all the different forms of Vedas, their corollaries like Upanishads, Puranas, Itihasas, and etc. So Srimad Bhagavatam is occupying the most exalted position among the whole Vedic corpus. So this Srimad Bhagavatam describes Dharma Projita Karitavotra Paramo Nirmansaranam Satam. That in this highest form of literature, these 4 goals of human life, which are generally described by majority of the Vedic literatures, including the Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, Samhitas, Agam, Nigam, Shruti, Smriti, Tantra, etc. These 4 goals of human life, which are nothing other than the cheating forms of religion, have been completely discarded by Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavatam only talks about Prema Bhakti, or the unalloyed transcendental love for the lotus feet of the Lord, which is the actual most exalted goal of human life. So this Prema or Prema Bhakti, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give. But who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And what is the relationship of Sri Rupa Goswami with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And what is the relationship of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Sri Krishna, the beloved of Srimati Radhika? So, Sri Krishna, as in the language of Srila Rupa Goswami, Shri Krishna's unprecedented quality is that what Shri Krishna is able to bestow, no other incarnations or expansions of Shri Krishna, whether they be Krishna Tattva expansions of the same caliber and of the same sterling standard. And what is that same sterling standard? That same sterling standard means that Shri Krishna is completely transcendental to the three modes of material nature, Sattva, Raj and Tam. Likewise, all the other forms of Shri Krishna which have become expanded from him, like the different Leela Avtaras, Purusha Avtaras, Yoga Avtaras, Manvantara Avtaras, Shaktyavish Avtaras, Guna Avtaras, etc. All these different forms of incarnations and all these different forms of expansions like Vaibhav Vilas, Prabhav Vilas, Tadekatma Swarup, etc. All these different forms of Shri Krishna are also likewise transcendental to the three modes of material nature. And this has been corroborated by Lord Brahma in the 14th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when Brahma is praying unto the lotus feet of Shri Shyamasundar in Vrindavan after realizing his mistake and his grievous felony and his very grave felony and very grave misdemeanor. After he realizes his mistake and offense, and when he comes to apologize in the lotus feet of Shri Krishna, at that time Brahma has said that Narayanam tvam nahi sarvadehinam atmasya dhisha lokasakshi Narayano anganara bhujalayana tatachapi satyam natavaiva maya. That, O Shri Krishna, you are even the fountain source, you are even the son of Bodham, you are even the origin of my father Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who is an expansion of Narayan. And because you are Muna Narayan, because you are the original form of Narayan, because even Narayan becomes emanated from you, becomes manifest from you, and you are the Swayam Bhagavan, you are the Swayam Bhagavan means you are the most original form of Godhead. And this has also been explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Ete chamshkalaha punsaha krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. That all these other incarnations are incarnations of the Karanodakshai or Kshirodakshai Vishnu, the first, second and the third Purusha incarnations. But Shri Krishna of Vrindavan, that Shri Krishna of Vrindavan, Shri Shyamasundar, the son of Mother Nanda and Yashoda, the son of Mother Devaki and Vasudeva, he is Swayam Bhagavan, meaning that even that Narayan, or even that Mahavishnu, Karanodakshai Vishnu, who is the origin of all the other incarnations, even that Narayan and Mahavishnu is expanded from Shri Krishna, the Swayam Bhagavan. So, Brahma Samhita also corroborates this fact by saying Ramati Murti Shukalanyame Krishnandana Avataramakaru Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramaha Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tanham Bhajami. Lord Brahma says that I adore that original personality of Godhead who becomes expanded in different ways like Shri Rama, Narsimha, Matsya, Varaha, etc. But who in his original form remains as the Govinda of Shri Vrindavan. And the example is given Deepa Chere Vahi Dashantaram Abhyupetya Deepayate Vipitahetu Samana Dharma Yastadrike Vahi Cha Vishnu Taya Vibhati Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That just as an original candle and the other candles both have the same quality of power. What is the power that the candles are having, that the ghee lamps are having? The power is the power of illumination and the power of burning and giving heat. These three qualities, the power of burning, the power of heating and the power of illuminating. These three energies, these three potencies are possessed by all the different multifarious ghee lamps. But what's the difference? The first ghee lamp is the origin of all the other 999 ghee lamps. Without the existence of the first ghee lamp, the other 999 ghee lamps could not have been existing. That's the only difference between Shri Krishna and all his different incarnations and expansions. That all these different expansions and incarnations are none other than Shri Krishna himself. But the difference is they are dependent, their godhood is dependent upon the godhood of Shri Krishna, upon the primeval godhood of Shri Krishna. That is why the Bhagavatta means the godhood of all the other forms of Shri Krishna is dependent upon the Bhagavatta or the godhood of Shri Krishna. That is why he is known as Swayam Bhagavan. Swayam Bhagavan because he has Swayam Bhagavatta. Swayam Bhagavatta means self-godhood. Self-godhood means who is completely self-dependent, who is not dependent on any other form like Narayana, Ram, etc. But all these other forms are dependent on him. That is why Brahma Samhita says, Ishvara Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So likewise, Shri Krishna of Vrindavan has been considered to be Swayam Bhagavan, the most original primeval form of Godhood existing in all the three types of worlds, the marginal, the spiritual and the material. In the whole Chatushpada Vibhuti, in the whole creation of Shri Krishna's form of Vrindavan, especially the adolescent form of Shri Krishna, who is always performing the conjugal dances with the cowherd damsels of Vrindavan and the cowherd maidens of Vrindavan, characterized by Srimati Krishnanandini, Radhika, Lalita, etc. That form of Shri Krishna is the most original form, being known as Swayam Rupa Swayam Bhagavan. So, when Shri Rupa Goswami says that Santva Bhava Avataraha Pushkarana Bhasya Sarvato Bhadraha Krishnadapi Ko Api Lataswapi Premato Bhavati, that let there be many incarnations. I have no problem with those incarnations and expansions and other forms of Shri Krishna, because they are all auspicious, they are all full of auspiciousness, and they are all granting transcendental benefit to their devotees and even to demons who come into contact with those forms. Because Krishna and his other forms are Hatari Gatidayak. Hatari Gatidayak means they liberate even the demons who are enviously and maliciously connected with him. But what is present, what unprecedented quality is present in Shri Krishna is never present in any other form of Shri Krishna. And what is that unprecedented quality? That is that Shri Krishna only is able to give Prema Bhakti, especially the Prema Bhakti or the type of love which is found within the eternal associates of Vrindavan pastimes, which are known as the Ragatmika Parshadas, the Ragatmika Parikaras of Vrajbhumi Vrindavan Dham. Because there are two forms of devotional practices, devotional service. The first is known as Vaidhi Bhakti and the second is known as Raga Bhakti, Ragamani Bhakti. So in Vrindavan, only the second form, the latter form of Bhakti, the Ragamani Bhakti is present. So naturally all the transcendental eternal associates of Shri Krishna who are present in Vrindavan Dham are completely on the level of the Ragamani Bhakti. That is why they are known as the Ragatmika Parikaras, or those associates who are completely non-different from that Raga, from that transcendental love for the lotus feet of the Lord. That transcendental love for the lotus feet of the Lord itself has become diversely manifest into all these different eternal associates of Shri Krishna. All these different Ragatmika Parikaras, whether they are found on the level of Shantarati, on the level of Dasyarati, on the level of Sakhyarati, on the level of Vatsalyarati, or on the platform of Shringar or Madhurati. All these different associates of the Lord, whether they be in passive state, or in the active servitude state, or in the state of fraternal affection, or in the state of parental affection, or in the state of conjugal mood, all of these different associates of Shri Krishna, who are rather the products of the internal potency, the Antaranga Shakti of Shri Krishna, are the different manifested forms of the Raga, Krishna Anuraga, or the Krishna Prem manifest in Vrindavan Dham. That Krishna Prem of the Ragatmika type, not of the Vaidhi type, that Shri Krishna Prem of the Ragatmika type which is present in Vrindavan Dham and within the eternal pastimes of that Vrindavan Dham itself becomes manifest diversely into these many different non-phenomenal supramundane forms of the associates of Shri Krishna. And that is why those associates of Shri Krishna are consequently known as the Nitya Siddha Parikaras, or the eternal associates, and sometimes as Ragatmika Parikaras, or the associates of Shri Krishna who are themselves personified form of Krishna Anurag, or who are themselves the personified forms of the Ragatmika love for Shri Krishna, the Raga Prem. That is why Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being completely non-different from Shri Krishna, has this power to grant this Raga Premamayi Bhakti of Vrindavan Dham. This Vraj Prem, this Vraj Ras, or this transcendental devotional mellow of Vrindavan Dham known as Ragatmika Bhakti, and the subsequently following devotion which follows this Ragatmika Bhakti, which precedes this Ragatmika Bhakti, that follower devotion of Ragatmika Bhakti is known as Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga follows Ragatmika form of devotion. Raganuga devotion follows the Ragatmika type of devotion. That is why Raganuga Bhakti is known as the follower devotion. Anuga means one who follows, one which follows. So, Because the living entities of this material world who are conditioned from time immemorial or from time without beginning, Anadi Krishna Jivatma, because they are ever to the Lord from time without beginning. That is why these living entities who are the products of the marginal potency of the Lord and who are not the products of the internal potency of the Lord, these living entities, the only highest limit that they can reach up to or that they can ascend up to is the stage of Raganuga Bhakti. They can never even touch the platform which is the platform of Raganuga Bhakti, which is especially reserved for the internal associates of Shri Krishna who are the products of internal potency. Like the examples of the associates in the conjugal mood, Shringar Rati, are Shri Radha, Shri Chandravali, Shri Lalita Devi, Shri Vishakha Devi, Shri Sudevi, Ranga Devi, Shri Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Vilas Manjari, Ras Manjari, Raga Manjari, Prema Manjari, Kasturi Manjari, etc. All these different Kala damsels of Vrindavan Dham, they are all serving Shri Radha and Krishna, the divine couple of Raj, in the conjugal mood, in the Shringar Rati or in the Shringar Ras. Then the eternal associates of Shri Krishna who are serving in either the paternal or the maternal mood of affection, like Shri Yashomati Yashoda Devi, like Shri Vrishabharu Maharaj, like Shri Kirtida Sundari, like Bhagavati Purnamasi Devi, like Nanda Maharaj, like Sunanda Upananda, etc. All these different associates of Vrindavan who are serving Shri Krishna imbued with the parental affection, they are also eternal associates, they are also products of internal potency, Antaranga Shakti. Then those associates of Shri Krishna who are serving Shri Krishna in the fraternal affection, Sakyaras, like Shri Ram, Subal, Madhumangal, Stoka Krishna, Varudha, Arjun, etc. All these different friends of Shri Krishna, the cowherd friends, the Gopasakhas, they are serving Shri Krishna in the fraternal mood, in the mood of fraternity, and they are also considered eternal associates of the products of the eternal potency. Then come the associates of Shri Krishna serving him in this mood of solitude in Vrindavan Dham. They are known as Raktaka, Patraka, Chitraka, etc. Then there are many associates of Shri Krishna who are serving him in Vrindavan Leela, situated on the passive state of devotion, like the flute is serving Shri Krishna, like the Yamuna river is serving Shri Krishna, like the Govardhan mountain is serving Shri Krishna, and like the many different Sudhi Kamadhenu cows and the many different Kalpavrakshas or the desire trees of Vrindavan Dham. They are all serving Shri Krishna, situated on the platform, being situated on the platform of Shantarati or the passive state of devotion. So all these associates of Shri Krishna, whose designations and nomenclatures we have just enumerated, these associates of Shri Krishna are known as Nityasiddha Parikaras. Nityasiddha Parikaras means that they are eternal associates of Shri Krishna. They are not the products of marginal potency. They are never the products of external potency, and they are the products of internal potency of Shri Krishna. You see, there are three forms of the energetic potent principle, Shaktiman Tattva. Shaktiman is only Swayam Bhagavan Shri Krishna. The only sole original form of the energetic principle is Shri Krishna, because he is Swayam Bhagavan. And the other forms of Bhagavan, the other Bhagavad Rupas, the other forms of Bhagavan like Narayana, Ram, Narsimha, etc., the first quadruple Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Niruddha, and the second quadruple again Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Niruddha, and all the different forms of Shri Krishna are known as Bhagavad Rupas, or the different forms of Bhagavan. Shri Krishna being the Swayam Bhagavan. Then comes the localized portion of Shri Krishna, who is known as Paramatma, who is the indwelling monitor in the hearts of everyone, who is present as witness and as the oversoul, or as Paramatma, the super soul. That Paramatma is of three types: Kshiradakshai, Karanadakshai, and Garbhodakshai. The three Purusha incarnations are considered as Paramatma. And then comes the third feature of the Absolute Truth, known as the Nirvishesh Nirakara Brahma, the impersonal effulgence, that is known as impersonal Brahman also. So, Vadanti Tattva Vidas Tattvam Yaj Jnanamadvayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdate, as it has been corroborated in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the one non-dual absolute truth, Advai Jnana Paratattva, the one non-dual absolute truth becomes manifest into three different features in three different phases, according to, depending upon the eligibility of three different types of spiritualists, like the Ashtanga yogis, Jnana margis, and the Bhakti margis, or the bhaktas. Depending upon the eligibility of the three different types of transcendentalists or spiritualists, the same non-dual absolute truth appears itself, makes itself appear, makes itself manifest into three different forms of the first being Nirakara Nirvishesh Brahma, or the impersonal absolute truth, which is completely devoid of all types of variegatedness. Then the localized portion, which is known as Paramatma, the Sarvavyapi, the omnipresent one, the omniscient one. And then the third form is Bhagavan Rupa, or the form which is completely endowed with the sixfold opulences, as enumerated by Parashar Muni in conversation with Maitreya in Vishnu Purana. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasah shriyah jnana vairagya yoshchaiva sharanam bhagaivindana. So those forms of absolute truth who are personal and who are completely endowed with transcendental name, form, pastimes, associates, etc., and who are full with these six opulences. These forms of absolute truth are known as Bhagavad Rupas or Bhagavan. But Shri Krishna, being the original source of all these different forms of Bhagavan, is considered as Swayam Bhagavan. So the energetic principle, the potent principle, the Shaktiman, Shakti Mat Tattva, is divided in three ways: Nirvishesh Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. But the Shaktis, the energies, the potencies of that energetic principle are also divided threefold: the Antanga, the internal; the marginal, that is the Tatastha; and Bahiranga, the external. Now, what's the relationship of internal with Shri Krishna, the original form, the most primeval form of the Shaktiman Tattva? So there are three Shaktis and there are three forms of Shaktiman: Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And Shri Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Now, what's the relationship of internal potency with Shri Krishna, the Shaktiman? The internal potency is an integrated part of Shri Krishna's inherent innate identity. His Antarik Mool Swarup, the Swarupa, the internal innate identity of Shri Krishna, the original personality of Shri Krishna. That Swarupa, that identity of Shri Krishna, the internal potency is the integrated part of the innate nature of Shri Krishna. How? Just like fire is considered potent or energetic in some sense. In mundane sense, a mundane example is given, a phenomenal instance is given to elucidate this point under discussion. And that is that in the mundane world, fire, which is known as Shaktiman Tattva or the energetic potent principle, that fire has three potencies. The potency of burning, Dahika Shakti. The Jiva Goswami gives this example in Bhagavad Sandarbha. The potency of burning, Dahika Shakti. The potency of illuminating, Prakashika Shakti. And the potency of heating, Tapika Shakti. These are three potencies possessed by fire. Because fire is the possessor of these three potencies, fire is itself is known as the Shaktiman or the energetic potent principle. And because these three potencies of heating, lighting, and burning are possessed by fire, that is why these three potencies are considered energies or Shaktis, not Shaktiman. Now, these three potencies are integrated part of fire. That means they can never become separated from fire. That means that they can never become separated from fire. And if they are made separated from fire, then the fire will lose its very existence. The fire will not be called anymore as fire. The fire will no longer remain as fire. The fire will no longer be known as fire. Rather it will become completely shunya or devoid of all potencies, and then it will become a void substance, a void object, an object without existence, shunya vastu. Only when the fire is present with these three integrated potencies, then the fire is actually known as fire. Likewise, the internal potency of Shri Krishna is an integrated part of Shri Krishna's internal innate identity. And if it is separated, if it is taken out from Shri Krishna's personality, and if Shri Krishna becomes devoid of these different types of internal potencies, then Shri Krishna doesn't remain anymore as Shaktiman. He loses his existence. Just like fire cannot be called fire if it doesn't have the potency of lightning, the potency of heating, and the potency of burning. In the same way, Shri Krishna cannot be called Shri Krishna, Shri Bhagavan cannot be called as Shri Bhagavan if Shri Bhagavan or Krishna is without these three forms of transcendental internal potency, namely Sandhini, Samvit and Ahladina. So the Sandhini Shakti is the perpetual existence providing potency. The Samvit Shakti is the potency for providing cognition or all knowledge or omniscience, Sarvagyata. Then the Ahladini Shakti is the pleasure-giving potency, which provides the paramount transcendental bliss both to Shri Krishna and his associates. The Samvita Shakti provides omniscience or the all cognition or all knowledge both to Shri Krishna and his associates. The Sandhini Shakti gives perpetual eternal existence both to Shri Krishna, his associates, his holy name, form, endurance, pastimes, dham, etc. So these are the three potencies, Sandhini, Samvita and Ahladini. Sandhini corresponds with the Sat aspect which is found within the internal identity of the Lord. The Samvita corresponds with the Chit aspect which is found within the internal identity of the Lord. And the Ahladini Shakti corresponds with the Anand aspect which is also found within the internal identity of the Lord. That is why Shri Krishna's Swarup is that he is full of Sat, Chit and Anand, these three inherent divine attributes. So, because Shri Krishna is the possessor of all cognition, Chit, all existence, Sat and all transcendental paramount bliss, felicity, that is Anand, that is why he is the possessor of these three transcendental potencies, Sandhini, Samvit and Ahladini. That is why Parashar also affirms this point in Vishnu Purana by saying that Sandhini, Sandhini, Ahladini, Samvit, Dvaikeka, Sarvasamsthitu, Hladatapakari, Mishra, Dvaino, Gunavarjite, that, O Lord, in your personality are always present these three forms of transcendental potencies. And this point has also been affirmed by Srila Vyasadeva in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, when he says that na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate na tat samashtabhyadikascha drishyate parasya shaktir vividhaiva shruyate svabhaviki jnana balakriyacha. So there, Bala Shakti represents the Sandhini Shakti, then Jnana Shakti represents the Chit or Samvita Shakti, and then Kriya Shakti represents the Anand or Ahladini Shakti. So these three potencies are possessed by Shri Krishna. They are considered internal potencies. They are non-different from his nature. They are integrated parts of his nature. They cannot become separated. They cannot be taken out. They cannot be segregated from his transcendental personality, in short. Now comes the marginal. Now, even though these three forms of transcendental potencies, Sandhini, Samvita and Ahladini, cannot become separate, cannot be made separated from Shri Krishna's Swarupa, but still, even though they are non-separated from Shri Krishna, they are still controlled by Shri Krishna. That's the difference. Even though Ahladini, Sandhini and Samvit are not separated from Shri Krishna's Swarupa, they are still controlled by him. That is what makes him the possessor and these three integrated transcendental potencies as possessed. That's the difference. Even though the potencies are non-different, just like the heating, lightning and the burning potencies are non-different from fire, but still fire is the possessor of these three potencies in the same way. But fire, because the potent principle of fire itself is an unconscious, inert, material object, devoid of the faculty of desire, thinking, willing, feeling, etc. That is why it is very difficult to understand how fire can be considered potent principle. But because Shri Krishna has separate faculties of thinking, willing, feeling and desiring than the faculties of Sandhini, Samvita and Ahladini. Sandhini, Samvita and Ahladini also have faculties of thinking, willing, feeling and desiring, because they are also conscious. Now, the mundane example cannot be compared to the transcendental personality of Godhead in totality. The mundane example is given only for comparing some particular portions of analogy which are similar and which are commonly present both in the transcendental region and in the mundane region. That means In the mundane region, if the energy is separated from the energetic has no meaning. It loses its whole meaning. In the same way, in the transcendental world also, if the energies are made separate from the personality of Shri Krishna, then Shri Krishna has no meaning. Now, this is the similarity. This is the similarity between the mundane example of fire and Shri Krishna's relationship with his transcendental potency. That is why this example is given. But the difference is, because mundane analogies are all material, ontologically speaking. So the difference will always be there. So the difference is that in the mundane world, even though they may be internal potencies of a particular object, just like the burning, heating and illuminating potencies are potencies of fire. So even though they may be internal integrated potencies of a particular mundane object, they are inert, devoid of consciousness, and the object which is possessing these integrated potencies in the material world, because that object itself is also material, it is also inert and unconscious dead matter. Now the difference here is that in the spiritual world, both the possessed and the possessor, both the transcendental potency and Shaktiman Shri Krishna the possessor, are full of consciousness, feeling, willing and desire. That is why the Sandhini's Shakti also has feeling, willing and desire. This Sandhini Shakti also has feeling, willing and desire, the faculties of feeling, willing and desire. The Ahladini Shakti also has the faculties of feeling, willing and desire, and the Shaktiman Shri Krishna also has the faculties of feeling, willing and desire, and all these faculties of feeling, willing and desire possessed by these different energies and Shri Krishna are separately existing from each other. That means that if Sandhini Shakti desires something, that the same desire, it's not necessary that the same desire should also appear in the heart of Ahladini Shakti, or that the same desire should also appear in the heart of Samvit Shakti, or that the same desire should also appear in the heart of Shri Krishna Shaktiman. Their existence is simultaneously one and simultaneously different. That is why difference in oneness, Achintya Bheda Bhedi Bhav, the theory of simultaneous oneness and difference, as propounded by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, foremost being Srila Jiva Goswami Pad. So, Srila Jiva Goswami has established this theory of Achintya Bheda Bheda Bhav, this theory of simultaneous oneness and difference on a philosophical, strong and sound, firm basis in his Shat Sandarbha, that is a philosophical treatise written by him, which is an analysis on Srimad Bhagavatam, which is an exposition on the Sambandha Jnana, Abhidaya Jnana and Prayojan Tattva Jnana. So, in the Shat Sandarbha, especially in the Bhagavat and Paramatma Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami emphatically stresses that first we have to understand the relationship of internal potency with the Shri Krishna, the possessor of internal potency. Then we will be able to understand Shri Krishna's pastimes and his leelas. Otherwise, we will not be able to understand. If you are only acquainted with the morphological aspect of Shri Krishna's pastimes, and you are not aware of the ontological aspect of his tattva, of his personality, then our knowledge, our apparent knowledge of his pastimes and of his leela will remain incomplete without the background support of ontological knowledge. So, what is that ontological knowledge? That is, that the mundane example of fire is utterly mundane. Both the fire, the possessor, and the heating, lighting and illuminating potencies which are possessed are mundane, devoid of consciousness, devoid of thinking, willing, feeling and desire. But Shri Krishna and his transcendental internal potency, threefold, Sandhini, Samvita and Ahladini, are not like that. All of them have separate faculties of thinking, willing, feeling and desire. And why it is that? Because all of these three potencies also have their individual forms, their individual personalities. They are not Nirvishesha or Nirakar. In the mundane world, the energies are abstract. The energies can be felt. The energies can be experienced. But the energies cannot be seen. We cannot see the personified form of heat. Can you see the heat? You cannot see the personified form of heat. You cannot reciprocate with the personified deity or form of heat. You cannot taste. You cannot smell. You cannot hear the personified form of heat. Likewise, you can also not see the personified form of light. One can say, oh, I am visualizing, I am beholding the light here. Fire has a light and it is of orange color. Why are you saying that the light cannot be perceived? No. You are only perceiving the light, but are you perceiving the personality of light? No, because the personality is not there. And are you perceiving the personality of the mundane potency? No, you cannot see the personality of mundane potency. You cannot see the personality of heating potency. You cannot see the personality of illuminating potency. And you can also not see the personality of the potent fire. You cannot see the personalities. You cannot see the forms. What do we mean? Sandhini Shakti has a form. Two-headed form, having 2 hands, 2 feet, 1 head, 2 eyes, etc. Sandhini Shakti also has a personified form. Likewise, Ahladini Shakti also has a personified form, and Shaktiman Shri Krishna also has a personified form. Because all of these 3 types of internal potencies, along with the potent principle Shri Krishna, all have their individual personalities and forms. That is why they have their individual faculties of thinking, willing, feeling, desire, cognition, etc. And because of this, it can be legally explained that Shri Krishna, he also has desire, and his internal potency, Ahladini Shakti, also has a desire. That is why Shri Krishna has Iman, has ego, has conception that I am the controller of Ahladini, and Ahladini has the conception that I am being controlled by Shri Krishna. Now, the heating potency, or the illuminating potency, or the burning potency in the mundane world, Dahika, Jvalika, and Datika, in the mundane world, do not have this conception that we are being controlled by fire and that fire is our master. And neither the fire has the conception that I am the possessor of these 3 potencies. Why? Because none of them are conscious. But in the spiritual world, Shri Krishna, who is conscious, has this conception that I am the possessor, and even though the integrated potencies are part of his nature, are part of his personality, but they have their separate individual conceptions of thinking, willing, feeling, and desire. They have this separate conception that we are being controlled by Shri Krishna. That is why there are 2 types of relationships ensuing, occurring, existing between Shri Krishna and the internal potency. The first relationship is that the internal potency is integrated part of Shri Krishna. It cannot be taken out. Shri Krishna cannot be made devoid of these potencies, otherwise he will himself become non-existent. And the second relationship that Shri Krishna has with these 3 potencies, internal potencies, is that these 3 internal potencies are possessed, controlled by Shri Krishna. They are subjugated by Shri Krishna. They are subservient to Shri Krishna, and Shri Krishna is the only Lord and Master of the internal potency. These are the 2 relationships Shri Krishna shares with his internal potency. But now, if we talk about Shri Krishna's relationship with Tatastha, the marginal, and the Bahiranga, the external, it is not the same type of relationship. Because both the marginal and external potencies of Shri Krishna are not part of his inner identity. That is why they are not integrated parts of his nature. They are not integrated aspects of his nature and his identity. Because they are not present within the inner identity of Shri Krishna. That is why Shri Krishna is considered beyond the 3 modes of material nature. That means that the 3 modes of material nature and the Maya, which is the aggregate form of the 3 modes of material nature combined, that Maya, because that Maya and her 3 modes are not present within the inner identity of Shri Krishna. That is why Maya is known as Bahiranga Shakti. Mahamaya is known as Bahiranga Shakti, or that potency who is outside the personality. Anga means personality here. Who is Bahir? Bahir means outside. Who is outside? Who is extraneous? Who is outside the personality of Shri Krishna is known as Bahiranga Shakti, because the 3 modes of Sattva, Raja, and Tam, which are the root cause, which are the seed of the whole mundane existence, are not present within the transcendental supramundane personality of Shri Krishna. That is why the Bahiranga Shakti is known as Bahiranga, being extraneous, being outside to Shri Krishna's personality. But marginal is also existing outside Shri Krishna's inner identity. Marginal is also not innate part of his in nature. No. Marginal potency, the Jivatmas, are known as Vibhinnansh. That is why in Varaha Puran, Vyasadeva has made it very clear that there are two types of expansions of Shri Krishna. The first is the Vishnu Tattva expansion known as Swamsh, the non-differentiated expansion of Shri Krishna. So Lord Rama, Narsingh, Matsya Kurma, etc. They are all non-differentiated expansions of Shri Krishna. Swamshashchat Vivinnangshaha Dvida Dvidha Angshau Jayavaha. There are two types of expansions, the Swamsh and the Vivinnansh. This is what Shri Vyasadeva has said, declared in Varaha. And the first is Swamsh. Swamsh means non-separated expansions of Shri Krishna. That means when Shri Krishna himself becomes transformed into some other form, then those forms are known as non-separated expansions. Like when Shri Krishna himself becomes expanded into Shri Ram, into Shri Narayan, then those forms are considered non-separated expansions of Swayam Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Swansha or Vishnu Tattva. But then the Jivatmas, the innumerable living entities found within this material world, those Jivatmas, that Jiva Shakti, that marginal potency, those living entities, they are separated, differentiated expansions of Shri Krishna. That is why they are known as Vibhinnansha, because Shri Krishna doesn't expand himself into these living entities. Shri Krishna doesn't make himself expand into these living entities because the living entities' existence and the existence of Shri Krishna was different, is different, and will remain different. No question of Advaitavad here, as propounded by Adi Shankar Bhagavad Bhav. No question of monism. No question of so-called oneness of the living entity with the Parabrahma Shri Krishna. No question. Because the living entities have always remained different from the very beginning, are always different, and will always remain different. Even at the time of Brahma Saivijya Mukti, the impersonal liberation, when the living entity merges into impersonal Brahman, even at that time, his ontological existence remains separated from the existence of impersonal Brahman. Yes. You can never become one with absolute truth. That is why that the difference of existence even prevails in Brahma Saivijya Mukti. So, the thing is, the living entities are living functions. Shri Krishna has not expanded himself into living entities. Living entities have a different existence from Shri Krishna. That is why they are known as living or separated expansions of Krishna. Whereas the Vishnu Tattva are known as non-separated. Now, living entities being marginal, because they are not the part of Shri Krishna's internal identity, they are also not considered internal or Antaranga Shakti. Antaranga means that potency which is present within the inner personality of Shri Krishna. जो श्री कृष्ण के व्यक्तित्व में, जो श्री कृष्ण के स्वरूप के अंतर्वर्ती होकर विद्यमान है, अंतर्वर्ती होकर विराजमान है, अंतर्वर्ती होकर जो अवस्थित है, उसको तो हम अंतरंगा शक्ति कहेंगे. परंतु जो श्री कृष्ण के स्वरूप के बहिर्वर्ती होकर बाहर जो विराजमान है, उसको या तो हम घटस्था कहेंगे या फिर बहिरंगा कहेंगे. Now the question is, if marginal potency is also extraneous to Shri Krishna's personality and his inner identity, then why the marginal has not been called external too? Why only the Mahamaya has been called external? Why not the marginal also has been called external? The reason is, marginal is also external. But in order to show difference between marginal and external, marginal has been called marginal and external has been called external, although both are external to Shri Krishna's nature. Yes. Neither the Vibhinnansha, the separated expansions of Shri Krishna, the living entities, they are not present within the personality of Shri Krishna. They are also external to Shri Krishna's personality, but still they are not called external potency because they are having at least some similarity with Shri Krishna. Whereas the three modes of material nature and the Maya, the external potency, is not having at all any type of similarity with Shri Krishna. What is that? The material energy Maya is temporal. That's why the whole material existence, which is the effect of Maya. Maya is the cause and the material world is the effect. Karya Karana Sambandh. So the material world, which is the effect of Maya, is also temporal, and the cause of that material world, Maya, Trigunatmika, the three modes of nature, they are also temporal. That is why Maya is both inert, unconscious and temporal. She is without Chetanta, she is without consciousness, she is dead matter, and she is temporary. But the living entities are not temporary. The Jivatmas, the spirit souls, are not temporary. They are eternally existing, they are perpetual. They are Nitya, they are Shashvat. And Shri Krishna is also eternal, perpetual, and Nitya and Shashvat, immortal. Both living entity, both the Jivatma and Paramatma, Shri Krishna the Bhagavan, both the spirit soul and the super soul, both the living entity and Bhagavan are eternal. That's the first similarity. And the second similarity is both the living entity and the supreme personality of Godhead are full of consciousness and are not dead and are not inert and are not incognitive. Rather, they are fully cognitive, rather they are full of consciousness and they are fully Chetan. That is why Shri Ashwatthana Upanishad says, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Ego Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kamam. That means that all the different types of living entities who are the products of the marginal potency, all the different trillions and trillions of living entities who are present in this material world and who are practically unlimited, and that is why which are considered innumerable, which are considered not to be counted, they are uncountable. So these innumerable living entities, the products of marginal potency, they are having two attributes which even the personality of Godhead has. And these two attributes is, the first attribute is Nityatva. Living entities are eternally existing. And the second attribute is that the living entities are Chinmay. They are full of consciousness. Living entity, the soul, Jivatma, is full of Jnana, consciousness, and is full of eternal existence. Shri Krishna is also full of cognition and eternal existence. And due to this reason, Shri Krishna and the living entities are similar up to some extent. That is why, because of the qualitative oneness between Shri Krishna and the Jivatma, because of the qualitative oneness pervading the relationship of Shri Krishna and the living entities are not considered exactly like the Mahamaya, the external potency, who is not having any similarity with Shri Krishna's transcendental nature. Because she is temporal and she is devoid of consciousness. Whereas living entity is at least not temporal, perpetual, and at least not devoid of consciousness, being completely cognitive. So, that is why even though living entity is extraneous to the inner identity of Shri Krishna, he is not part of Shri Krishna's inner identity like the internal potency, but still the living entity has not been considered as the external potency, but has been considered as marginal because of sharing some similarity. Now, the only relationship that the marginal and external potencies have with Shri Krishna, the only relationship that they are having with Shri Krishna. Now we have already discussed about the relationship of internal potency with Shri Krishna, but now we will talk about the relationship between the marginal external potencies with Shri Krishna. What is their relationship? Their relationship is that the marginal and external potencies are only to be possessed and controlled by Shri Krishna, but they are not part of his internal nature. That's why Jiva Goswami has given two examples in Paramatma Sandarbha. That the internal potency is like the heat potency, light potency, and the burning potency of fire, integrated part of fire. But the external and the marginal potencies are not like that. They are not the integrated part of Shri Krishna's nature. Then what example can be given to explain that? An example of wife is given here. Example of wife is given here. Just like the legally or the legitimately wedded wife of a man, and the man who is known as husband of that wife. So according to the Vedic principles, the wife is to be considered subordinate to the husband's desire or to the husband's decree. So the duty of wife is to serve the husband and to fulfill the wishes and the desire of husband and to assist husband in progressing on the path of dharma. This is considered the prescribed duty of wife according to the prescribed Vedic injunctions. So the wife is considered in one sense subordinate to the husband being her assistant. Now, the relationship between wife and the husband is that the wife is not integrated part of husband's existence. How? If she were to be an integrated part of husband's existence, then if wife would die, then husband would also die at the same time, because they are having one existence. And if husband would die, the wife would also die at the same time. At the same time, exactly the same time. Or if the wife is experiencing abdominal pain, then the husband will also experience abdominal pain. If the wife is feeling satisfied by making some kind of food intake, then husband will also become satisfied by that same food intake made by his wife, even though the husband has not made any type of food intake. Suppose if the husband is not eating anything and the wife is eating, just by his eating the husband will become satisfied. But these things are not occurring, and the individual thinking propensities, desiring propensities are all different. That is why it is concluded that the wife is different from the husband. Ontologically speaking, their existence is different from each other. But then the relationship is that the wife is considered subordinate to husband, being the assistant, being subordinate to her husband, controlled by her husband, who is also following the righteous path of Vedic injunctions. Both are following the Vedic Maryada, the righteous path of Vedic injunctions. So the only relationship existing between the marginal and the external potencies with Shri Krishna is that both the marginal and external potencies are not integrated part of Shri Krishna's nature, but they are still to be controlled by Shri Krishna, and that is why they are also known as Shri Krishna's Shaktis. But the internal potency is not only controlled by Shri Krishna, but she is an integrated part of Shri Krishna. Now, the most unique thing is, which is not found within the mundane example of fire that we had given to explain the internal potency. The most unique, the first difference is the material world, both the potencies and the potent do not have consciousness. But in spiritual world, the internal potency and the potent Shri Krishna have consciousness, have desire, thinking, willing, feeling. Second difference, in the material world, both the potent principle and the potencies do not have a personified form. But in the spiritual world, both the potent and the potencies have personified form. You cannot say that the pleasure-giving potency of Shri Krishna, Ahladini Shakti, is only an abstract sentiment of bliss. No! The pleasure-giving sentiment of Shri Krishna in transcendental world is not only abstract, ambiguous, vague sentiment of bliss, but is rather having a very clear-cut personified form of Prashanandini Shrimati Radhika. That's another difference. And the third difference is, what is the third difference now that we have not spoken about? The third difference is that the internal potency in the material world, internal potency of any material object in the material world, if it is made separated from the object will lose its existence. The Shaktiman will lose its existence. Like if the potencies are made separated from fire will lose its existence. Same way, the potencies are made separated from Shri Krishna also lose existence. That's the similarity. But then what's the difference? What's the third difference? The third difference is that in the material world, the potencies, if they are separated from the potent, then they cannot remain present within the potent. But in the spiritual world, the potencies, if the potent desires, if the potent principle desires, then his internal potencies can be made simultaneously separated and still they will be existing within the inner identity of the potent. That is why Swarup Damodar Goswami says, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritihi Ahladini Shakti Rasman Ekatmanavapi Bhuvipura Deha Bhedam Gatau Chaitanyakhyam Prakatamadhuna Tadvayam Chaityamaptam Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. That Shri Radha and Krishna who are Ekatma, who are completely one, because the internal potency is integrated part, they are not different, but still they have appeared from time without beginning in separated forms. Simultaneously, although they are one, although they are Ekatma, but Deha Bhedam Gatautam, still their forms have become separated. Deha Bhed. Although they are one in all respect, but still they have separated from time without beginning as separate forms, as individual separately existing forms. So Srimati Radhika and Shri Krishna, although they are one personality, one being the internal potency and another being the potent of that, but still they have become separated from time without beginning. And that is why the separated forms of Shri Radha and Krishna, although Radha has become, although Ahladini Shakti, although the pleasure-giving potency, the internal potency has made herself separate from Shri Krishna, but still she is also present within the inner identity of Shri Krishna simultaneously. Now we will understand what is the ontological swarupa, what is the ontological position of Bhakti Maharani. She is certainly not marginal. She is certainly not external potency of Shri Krishna. She is certainly the internal potency of Shri Krishna. But there are three types of internal potencies: Ahladini, Sandhini, and Samvit. Now, because of the three diverse functions, the Ahladini gives only pleasure to Shri Krishna and his associates. The Sandhini gives perpetual existence only to Shri Krishna and his associates. And the Samvit gives all knowledge, all cognition, sarvajnata to Shri Krishna and his associates. These three potencies have three different functions. Now, the personified form of Ahladini is Srimati Radhika. She is the Mool Ahladini Shakti. Just like Krishna is Mool Shaktiman, Narayan is not Mool Shaktiman. Narayan is not, Ramachandra is not Mool Shaktiman. Varaha Matsya Narasingha Kurma is not Mool Shaktiman. First and second quadrupla are not Mool Shaktiman. Mool Shaktiman is Swayam Bhagavan Vrindavan Vihari Shri Krishna, Shyam Sundar, the son of Nanda and Yashoda. In the same way, Mool Shakti is Srimati Radhika, not Lakshmi, not Satyabhama, not Janaki Sita, and not any other form or not of any other consort of Krishna's incarnation. That is why Srimati Radhika is the Mool Shakti. Now, Srimati Radhika is the personified form of Ahladini. The personified form of Samvit Shakti is who? There are three different types of Samvit Shaktis. In Dwarka Leela, you see the Samvit Shakti is none other than Yogamaya. Yogamaya is known as Samvit Shakti. What is the function of Yogamaya? The function of Yogamaya is to coordinate the transcendental pastimes of Shri Krishna and his many different incarnations. She is the coordinator. She is the supervisor of the pastimes. Without her permission, pastime cannot occur. And she has full power of controlling Shri Krishna and Shri Krishna's associates in order to make pastimes full of variety, and in order to make pastimes tasty and palatable, in order to make pastimes tasty, palatable and relishable. Yogamaya has full power of controlling both Shri Krishna and his associates. Now, that Yogamaya is different according to different dharma. In Vrindavan, Yogamaya appears in two different forms. First as Bhagavati Purnamasi and the second as Vrindadevi. In Dwarka Leela, Yogamaya appears as Subhadra. And in Mathura Leela, Yogamaya appears as Ekanansha. And in the pastimes of other incarnations of Shri Krishna like Ram, Narayan, Matsya, Varaha, etc., Yogamaya likewise appears in other different forms, taking different names. So Yogamaya is considered Samvit Shakti. And Sandhini Shakti is presided over by Shri Balram Prabhu. Although Shri Balram Prabhu is not Shakti Tattva himself, he is Shaktiman. He is one form of Shri Krishna. He is not Shakti Tattva, he is Shaktiman Tattva. But still, there has not been made a separate personified deity for Sandhini Shakti. Sandhini Shakti's personified deity is the same as Shaktiman Shri Krishna, Shaktiman Shri Balram of Vrindavan. Shaktiman Shri Balram, the potent principle of Vrindavan, Balram. He is potent principle and he is also the presiding deity of Sandhini Shakti. So these are the three potencies, and Bhakti Maharani or devotional service. Bhakti Maharani also has a personified form. Bhakti Maharani also has a personified form. And that form that Bhakti Maharani has, that personified form of Bhakti Maharani, is Bhakti Maharani expansion of Sandhini? Is Bhakti Maharani expansion of Samvit? Or is Bhakti Maharani expansion of Ahladini? That we will understand in our tomorrow's session in Her Grace Shri Chaitanya Mataji's house, in her residence. When we will have our discussion, we will understand that point, what is the ontological position of Bhakti Maharani, and thereby we will also understand the ontological position of Shri Rupa Goswami, who is the compiler of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So we will understand the ontological position of both Shri Rupa Goswami and Bhakti Maharani. Bhakti Maharani, Bhakti Devi, devotional service is the primary topic of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and the compiler of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is Rupa Goswami. We will comprehend both of theirs real status and their real position by concluding this philosophical discussion on the internal potency in our tomorrow's session. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because we are reaching our time limit, if there are any questions or comments.
Already time passed. I have one question. No,
Yes.
It's not my question, it's all people's question.
Yes.
Always people ask one thing,
Yes.
because you research so much, I wanted to ask you this two things. One is, why people say Radharani play with Krishna from child and always with Krishna, why she married Ayan and why she didn't marry
Why she married Abhimanyu, the husband?
Ayan?
Aya?
Ayan. And his name was Ayan.
So doesn't matter the name.
Okay. Okay, so according to the traditional sources, like the Vedas and Puranas, it may be Ayan. So what I have heard is Abhimanyu is the husband of Radhika. But now our acharyas, especially Shri Rupa Goswami, has explained in Chudamani that all the husbands of the different cowherd damsels of Vrindavan, not only the husband of Radhika, but the husbands of all the gopis of Vrindavan, who were in conjugal mood, all of their husbands were none other than the expansions of potent principle, Shri Krishna. Now, the difference is, when the cowherd boyfriends of Shri Krishna were stolen, they were abducted and kidnapped by Brahma's tactic. At that time, for 1 year, in Vrindavan, for 1 year, the cowherd boyfriends of Krishna and the cows and their cows, they were all substituted, they were all replaced by Shri Krishna's expansions. So when Shri Krishna himself became transformed into these different gopasakhas, into these different cowherd friends of his, at that time, the parents, the fathers and mothers, the parents and the guardians of those cowherd boyfriends of Krishna, they married their children during that year, when Krishna himself had become transformed into those cowherd boyfriends, those gopasakhas. So Abhimanyu Gop, who is the husband of Srimati Radhika, Govardhan Mall Gop, who is the husband of Chandravali, and likewise the list goes on and on. Every gopi, every cowherd damsel of Vrindavan has a particular husband. But all these husbands of different gopis of Vrindavan, they were married to those gopis when Brahma had abducted the real cowherd boyfriends of Krishna. So actually all these gopis had been married to the different expansions of Shri Krishna. Abhimanyu is also one expansion of Shri Krishna. Now the question arises that what after the original cowherd boyfriends of Krishna were again returned by Brahma, what after that? So what happens is, when Shri Krishna had become transformed into these different cowherd boyfriends, those expansions were potent principle, Shaktiman Tattva. But now, when Brahma will again return back the original cowherd boyfriends, those cowherd boyfriends are not potent principle. They are not Shaktiman Tattva. They are products of internal potency. They are Nitya Siddha Parikaras. That's different from Shaktiman. Nitya Siddha Parikar, Ragatmik Parikar, that is a different thing than Shaktiman. Because Nitya Siddha Ragatmik Parshadas of Krishna, in all the 5 different types of relationships of Shana, Dasya, Vatsalya, etc., they are considered products of internal potency. All the male associates of Krishna in Vrindavan are made manifest by Balram Prabhu, by Sambhini Shakti. And all the female associates of Shri Krishna in Vrindavan pastimes are made manifest by Srimati Radhika. It doesn't matter if those female associates are in parental affection, like Yashoda, etc. All these different female associates, whether they be on the platform of parental affection or in conjugal mood, because there are 2 types of gopis in Vrindavan. Some are in conjugal mood and some are in parental mood. So the Vriddha gopis, the elder gopis, they are in parental affection. And the gopis who are of the same age as Krishna, they are in the conjugal mood. But both of these types of female associates are products of Srimati, are manifestations of Srimati Radhika. Even Yashoda, she becomes manifest from Srimati Radhika. Radhika, ontologically speaking, the origin of all the female associates. And likewise, Nanda Maharaj, Sridham Subal, Madhumangal, all the cowherd boyfriends of Krishna, Nanda Maharaj, and all the other guardians of Shri Krishna, all the other elders of Shri Krishna, respectable elders, and all the servants of Krishna, like Yaktak, Patrak, Chitrak, they are all emanations of Balram Prabhu, and all the associates of Krishna in Shantarati, like the Govardhan mountain, like the Surabhi Kamadhenu cows, and like the touchstones and the desire trees, the Kalpavrikshas and the Chintamani's, they are also all manifestations from Balram Prabhu, the predominating beauty of Sandhini. So, and Yogamaya and the different forms of Yogamaya like Vrinda Purnamasi, they are manifestations of the Samvit Shakti. Now, once this analysis has been made, those original cowherd boyfriends of Krishna, when they were returning back, they were not Vishnu Tattva expansions. They were not expansions of Shaktiman Tattva. Rather, they were expansions of the internal potency, Sandhini Shakti. That's why they are known as Nitya-Siddha Parikaras. So, those expansions of Sandhini Shakti, who are the original form of cowherd boyfriends of Krishna, even with them, Srimati Radhika and all the other cowherd damsels had no physical amorous relationship. They didn't have any physical amorous relationship, and that is why Rupa Goswami says, even when those cowherd boyfriends who were the husbands of those gopis, even when they were, Krishna himself expanded, even at that time the gopis didn't have any amorous relationship with their husbands. Then even after that 1 year ended, and when the original cowherd boyfriends, the Ragatmik, the Nitya-Siddha Parshadas came back, even at that time, the gopis or the cowherd damsels didn't have any physical, amorous relationship with their husbands. And that is why Rupa Goswami says in Chulmani that na jatu Vrajadevi nam pativihi sahasangamaha. That the Vrajadevis, headed by Shri Radhika, Chandravali, Lalita, Vishakha, etc., these Vrajadevis, these cowherd gopis of Vrindavan, they never had any amorous, lustful, sexual union with their husbands. Na jatu vrajadevi nam pativihi sahasangamaha. The only physical relationship that they had in their life was with Shri Krishna. Doesn't matter when their husbands were expansions of Shri Krishna or when their husbands were the products of the Sandhini Shakti, being the Ragatmik Parikar. It doesn't matter. In all the cases, the Vrajadevis didn't have any physical amorous relationship, loving affairs with their husbands. The only relationship that existed was that their husbands were having the conception that these are our wives, and the gopis also had the conception that these are our legally accepted and wedded husbands. Except for this, then no other relationship. That is why when the gopis are playing their sportive amorous pastimes and their aesthetic deeds with Shri Krishna when they are performing, at that time when they are performing Ratik Krida means loving affairs with Shri Krishna, at that time they are thinking that they are not married with Shri Krishna and they are taking Shri Krishna to be a paramour or parakiya, not legally accepted husband. But otherwise, except for this conception that he is my husband and that she is my wife, they have no other physical relationship. That is what Rupa Goswami, who is Rupa Manjari himself, one of the main servants of Srimati Radhika in the conjugal pastimes of Shri Krishna and Vrindavan, he has himself declared this. Who can be more authorized than him? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any other question? Okay, we will take private questions if anyone has, because the time has already come. Yes.
You say that.
I think the Lalita Sahasranam that you are talking about is about expansion of Durga. One expansion of Durga is also known as Lalita, and that Sahasranam is dedicated to that expansion, not to Lalita Sakhi of Vrindavan. Yeah, that's the difference. That's why the Shaktas in Bengal, they recite Lalita Sahasranam.
I saw South India also does, and they mix up.
Yeah.
They didn't understand it.
Yes, yes, yes. Very nice. So,
Look,
the nectar of devotion class ki, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna.
I think that you have accelerated us to the PhD level. Like an advancement for us.
half an hour to he said Maya Devi is a judge.
Yes.
Yes.
She's a divine.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the personified deity of Maya Devi, goddess Durga. She is full of consciousness. But there are two forms, Adhisthata and Adhishthan. So we'll talk
Okay,
discuss
later.
later about that.
My son said also, this is